Irreverent, entertaining, cool. You're listening to LA Talk Radio.
You're listening to Reza Riffs with Keith Reza and Alan Lee, right here on LA Talk Radio.
Today's episode of Reza Riffs is brought to you by Salon Soma in the city of Long Beach. Their mission is beautiful hair. They offer hair care, skin care, body care, makeup, and lashes. Their number is 562-987-4799. Salon Soma. It's Greek and cool.
Today's episode is also sponsored by Irvine Law Office. They handle employment law, estate planning, DUI, and criminal cases. If you break the law and want a lawyer you can trust, Irvine Law Office at 949-877-1957. You can also call them if you didn't break the law.
Irvine?
Today's episode is also sponsored by Vantage Utility Services. They are an IBEW-affiliated contractor that provides engineering and construction services to power, wireless, and telecommunication markets. They stand for the two most important things to customers, safety and quality. Visit VantageUtilityService.com.
All right, excellent. That was a great...
Oh, it was wonderful.
We nailed the sponsors pretty good.
I felt so
we almost had it perfect until Grant fucking burps. Irvine.
Yeah,
hey, I gotta rep my hometown. I'm 949 till I die. Come on now.
Yeah, well, you can't do that on
949. I love it.
You can't do that on a lawyer one. You gotta do that on like a...
Oh no, they appreciate it anyway. Anybody from Irvine loves when somebody else from Irvine shows Irvine some love because we're the safest city in the world and we rep that hard.
I've heard that.
I don't know. I was actually very proud of both of us. We did not screw up the sponsors at all, and then he burps Irvine.
Well, you know, he's making a point because one of these people here would be Orange County. They'd be glad to hear the burp.
Really?
Irvine Law Office.
Yeah.
Not from a lawyer.
People from Irvine love hearing Irvine rep from somebody who's 949 till they die.
Whatever.
Like me.
Glad.
I think I'm just a little irritated at Grant, too, for personal reasons. Because, like, he was, I picked him up.
Yeah.
He says he'll be at my place at 9:30. Mm-hmm. I get a text at 9 o'clock saying, hey, can you pick me up in Irvine?
Yeah.
Which is probably why he burped. So I go over to pick him up. He gives me the wrong address.
Oh, my.
And then I'm almost running late.
Irvine's a big place. Irvine's a big city.
It is.
It's like...
part of the orange curtain.
Yeah. But you know what I mean? It's just like...
Well,
so then I think I'm burping it.
But then...
I almost forgave him.
Driving through Irvine just really soothed you.
Well, whatever.
You know
just
what
don't
I mean?
burp it on the future. We got the burp out of the way.
Well, at least it wasn't.
All my clocks are set 5 minutes ahead.
It wasn't a Mickey Mouse burp.
Yeah, if you can do it like a Mickey Mouse, you could do it because then it's like
high squeaky burp.
Yeah,
Mickey Mouse burping.
That's a horrible impression of Mickey Mouse.
That's not that bad.
It's pretty bad.
It's a standard.
I mean, you're talking to somebody who's pretty proficient at impressions. Myself.
There you go.
Can you do a Mickey Mouse impression?
I'm sorry.
Do a Mickey Mouse impression.
Oh, that's not bad.
Yes.
I was doing a little bit of a mini.
Yeah. Remember when
Mickey Mouse always turns into Mario because he goes wah.
That's good.
Remember when Skylar Stone burned you about Larry King?
Yeah, well,
take your calls, line one. And then Alan's like, okay, I think I won that one. And he's like, you did not.
Well, it was a risky choice I made there. I took chances.
That was when we were young and fresh.
Yes. Yeah, we were still fresh. We're fresh now.
All right. Well, then enough about lashing. We're back in the studio.
Yeah, beautiful.
We got a great guest coming on.
Yeah.
We're actually phoning him in. And Grant is here to do the Facebook Live.
He was here.
He's our Facebook Live guy.
Yo.
And then he subs in when you're in New York.
I'm glad he does.
And he's been on like every episode this season.
Grant was here for Heather McDonald.
For Heather. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah. And then you're wearing a fancy jacket.
Yeah,
I was here for Alonzo Bolden, too.
Yeah, he was here for Alonzo.
That's Alonzo.
And you weren't here.
No, where was I?
You were in New York.
New York.
This season's been really tough because I'm in school, so like we only can record when everyone's schedule fits.
Yeah. We all play hooky.
Yeah.
We just come here.
Well, today I am because we had two guests that can do it today.
Yeah, I think it's great.
I'm skipping history class and screenwriting.
He's here. He skipped something. What are you skipping, Grant?
I'm skipping...
Most recent drug deal?
Honestly, I'm skipping pretending to search for a job.
Well, see, there you go.
All right.
We're all good.
Well, today's guest, we're going to phone him in, is the great Blake Clark.
Quite a resume.
Huge resume. If you guys don't know, listening, he played Drew Barrymore's dad in 50 First Dates, which is probably one of the top 10 romantic comedies of all time.
Yeah, he's a great guy.
Yeah, he was also in Boy Meets World, Little Nicky, one of my favorite movies.
Girl Meets World.
Was he?
Yeah.
How was he in Girl Meets World? Didn't he die in Boy Meets World?
Are you asking how he performed, or how did they weave it in?
Yeah, how did they weave it in?
Oh, they just brought him on.
They just brought him back alive?
Yeah, nobody remembers that. Come on.
Okay, well, that's a good question we could ask.
You made
him.
a point earlier about...
It's Disney. Don't be so dark.
Potion,
Love
potion.
Love Potion number 9, he was.
Love potion number 9.
All right. So we're going to call him right now. Now, let me introduce you to him before you
Dive on in?
Yeah, dive on it.
Hello.
Hey, Blake, it's Keith Reza.
That sounds just like Blake.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for doing the show, pal.
Sure.
This is my trusty sidekick co-host, Alan Lee.
Glad to meet you, Blake.
He's not really.
Hey, how are you?
He's not really meeting you. He's on the phone.
It's a technical situation.
Yeah. And then we also
Voiceover meeting.
Voiceover. And then we also got Grant Smith, who does the Facebook Live, and I forgot to tell Grant that you were calling in, so...
There you go.
But I'm here, and what's going on, Blake?
All right.
So
I don't know. There's been a lot of talk about Melania Trump's hat today. That's pretty much...
what color was that? She had quite an
the topic of discussion on the cable news.
Wow.
Yeah, pretty damn important thing there.
I tell you.
Melania Trump's friggin' hat.
I saw you on a TMZ. This might have been last year, and like they asked you, "What do you think about Hillary?" And you said, "Give the bitch a chance" or something. I thought it was hilarious.
Yeah, it was not my finest moment. I was there picking up my wife. It was pretty early in the morning, and they said, "What do you think?" I said, "Sure, why not?" Hell, we've had, at that point, I think it was 44 presidents, all of which were men, none of whom had, maybe a handful of worth of crap. And I just said, well, give a bitch a chance. So.
But when you get interviewed by TMZ, I mean, they kind of know that, like, it's kind of like a sense of humor. Like, all the responses are usually, I think the public knows that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's tongue-in-cheek.
Yeah.
There you go.
So,
but then they've started all this Me Too movement and all that stuff. So now I just kind of keep to myself.
Yeah.
I agree.
And not that many people out there are that interested in what a 72-year-old man has to say anyway. Doesn't matter that I've been around the world. I've done comedy in the Middle East, the Far East, back east.
You also do Vegas a lot.
Yeah, been there a lot. I'm a veteran, combat veteran.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've been shot, stabbed, kicked, hit, bit, mortared, artillery. Rode hard, put away wet, eat by a wolf, crapped over a cliff, boarded in a scuttle and left dead in the water, but I'm still here, but nobody really gives a crap. So
I give a crap.
you
That's
get
why
to be
I want
a
you on
certain
the
age,
show.
you start becoming invisible, especially if you're a woman, which I'm not, never have been, never even thought about trying to become one. That's another thing.
You should at least think about it.
I don't get that, I don't get a lot of things, but I never did, so it ain't like, it's because I'm old, it's just because I'm me.
Yeah. Well, I love
I've
you.
just been me for a long damn time.
But I love you. I mean, that's why I wanted you on the show, because I love you, so I care what you have to say.
Well, you're in a distinct minority, but I appreciate it. Thank you.
Blake, I grew up like watching your films, and I first saw you, and you probably don't get this a lot, but I first saw you in Love Potion number 9.
Oh my God. That was filmed in Atlanta.
Oh, yeah.
And that was, what's her name?
Sandra Bullock.
Yeah, Sandra Bullock became a big deal.
Yeah.
She was very nice. She's from, I think, Virginia or somewhere back down south or whatever. Nice, and we hit it off, but I mean, all we did was 2 scenes together, and,
But you were the
get
first.
along with anybody for 2 scenes
But
most of the time.
You were the first guy who fell in love with her in the movie.
Yes. And that little idea of sticking the pen in and out at the top, that was my idea. And the director liked it, so he kept doing it. He said, yeah, do that. Okay.
Hollywood facts. Hollywood
There you
facts
go.
for you guys.
There you go. A little insight.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. I'm full of all those kinds of things.
That's great.
Hollywood facts that don't mean jack snot. And
So
I've been lucky. I've been very, very fortunate to a point. I never broke through to the Tim Allen level or even the Bill Engvall level, but I've worked with some really great people, and I've been very fortunate in that they were. There's only a couple of people that I ever worked with that I would just say, nah, I won't do it. Got to pay me a lot of money, a couple of million to work with that guy again. But
Yeah.
I've been very fortunate, and it's not because of me, because I'm pretty much an ass.
Really?
It's those guys.
Huh.
They're nice.
Oh, I think you're hilarious. And when I told him the guys when you were on the show, Alan was like, I like to see homos naked. I was like,
Yeah,
See, there you
yeah, that's
go.
fine. I was
Perfect line.
doing some USO shows in Iraq and Afghanistan, and I think this was the 3rd Infantry Division. I was a lieutenant. I was an infantry lieutenant. I was an infantry platoon leader with the 1st, the 11th Infantry, 1st of the 5th Division in Vietnam. So I was in combat, and I know how hard it is, and just living out in the elements all the time is tough. Anyway, so I'm doing the show, and I started it off by, this is when I was with Robin, and I walked out, and I went, "Man, time by Shanafee," and they kind of went nuts. And then I ended it by saying, yeah, this place is dangerous, it's dirty, it's hot, it's dusty, it's sandy, it's not, but remember this, holler where you make it. And they went nuts, man. They went nuts. And I told Fred Wolf, who wrote Joe Dirt,
yeah.
I told him about it, and he was real pleased.
We actually had Fred Wolf on the podcast a couple weeks ago, and he said nothing but nice things about you. He loves you very much. So I thought you.
Well, Fred and I we kind of started together. We worked in a T-shirt store on Hollywood Boulevard.
Wow.
We used to do all kind of. This is kind of where we learned to improvise, and I mean, we already knew, and he already knew. He'd been like a disc jockey at a University of Montana radio station, so he was pretty used to doing improvisational stuff.
Yeah.
We worked in this T-shirt store. We did all kind of weird crap, man. It was fun. I mean, it wasn't anything, outside the ordinary. Just funny,
Yeah.
not bad or
Or terrible.
anything other than just funny.
Yeah.
But it would be like, you got a minute for me to tell you a
Oh,
story?
Yeah.
Go ahead on.
Okay, so we worked in this T-shirt store, and this was back in 1980, and they had these things. I don't even know how they do it anymore, but they used to have these. They were called heat transfer. You'd put a decal on the shirt,
Yeah.
and you had this thing that you pushed down that was hot, and it would press it on there. And you had to make sure the shirt was not wrinkled and straightened out and clean and all that stuff. And then you'd put the thing on there and you'd ask the people, "Is this what you want? Is this the way you want it?" And they go, "Yeah." And then you'd put the the thing down, and it would lock, and it was just like a big, huge iron. It was about a foot square, 1 foot by 1 foot. And you'd leave it there for like 30 seconds. You take it up, and then you peel the paper off, and the decal would be on the shirt. So, and Fred and I, he was so great at playing stupid, and No, he was just brilliant.
Yeah.
And he'd come in there, and he'd look at me, and I'd look at him, and he'd just start doing little stuff. And I know, I'd just go along with it. So I was waiting on this family, nice family, I don't know, from back east somewhere, the boy and girl and parents. And the kids were like 10 or 11 years old, whatever. And so I was helping them, and Fred comes on, teacher. And I went, okay, I'm with these people. Can you just wait a second? I want this. And he points to the something, and I go, sir, I'll be with you in a moment. And then he just kept, I want to put that on. I want it on. And I went, what, you want this? Fine. So I just grab a T-shirt. It's all wrinkled up, still folded up. I throw it on the thing. Just grabbed I don't even know. I think it was Tweety Bird. Put it on there. Pressed the thing down. Waited 30 seconds. Took it out. Threw it at him and go $7.99. They froze in place. They were just staring at me. So we do stuff like that. And
that's funny.
That would have been cool if it was like on a hidden camera show, like a punk thing back then.
That was before those days. I mean, the only thing back then was candid camera or whatever.
That's right.
Yeah.
We'd do all kind of stuff like that.
Yeah. So then you did. Did you start doing stand-up comedy, or were you at the T-shirt place? Because you started at the store.
I kind of started doing stand-up back in my hometown of Macon, Georgia.
Oh, yeah?
I was a coach, and there was another coach, and he and I would tell jokes. And we would get together at his house. There were like 5 coaches. Well, back then, in the 70s in Georgia, and it's probably the same way now, a coach couldn't go out and go to a bar and be drinking and having fun if he wanted to stay a coach.
Right.
He was supposed to be almost celibate and above reproach and all of that stuff. So we would go over to Roy McWilliams, that was his name. We'd go over there to his house, and he'd tell a joke, and then I'd tell a joke, and so it got to, at the time, I didn't have a full-time coaching job. I was just kind of, I guess, an independent contractor coach, Mm-hmm. And so one of the guys who owned this bar called the Rookery there in Macon, he said, hey, why don't you come to the bar Friday night? We have a combo, and when they take a break, you go up and do jokes. I went, I don't know, give you $50. I went, I'll do it. So I said, but I'm going to write some. I'm not going to just tell street jokes. I'm going to write. I didn't even know the term street jokes. I just said, I'm not going to just tell jokes. I'm going to write stuff.
Yeah.
So I actually wrote some material that eventually I did on The Tonight Show.
Wow.
So,
Jeez.
I guess I kind of had an instinct of how to do it. So, anyway, that's how I started. But I'd only done stand-up maybe 10 times by the time I came out here. And then Fred, he was a disc jockey on some University of Montana radio thing, and he got me the job at the T-shirt store. And I tried to reciprocate later on, get him a job at the comedy store, but I never could. Mitzi, his hair's too long. Tell him to cut his hair. And I went, Mitzi, you got people whose hair's longer than his. You put them up. He's funny. He's good. He writes. He's great.
Yeah.
I don't like him. So I said, okay. So then I tried to get him a job as a doorman, just because that's what I was doing. I was the doorman, and I tried to get him a job as the back doorman.
Yeah.
And she said, well, let me see his act. I went, what? You want him to audition to be a doorman? Was he going to stand there, open a door, sit on a stool? What?
Ouch.
Anyway, so she wouldn't put him on. So she put Sam Kennison in charge of we had a Westwood store back then.
Yeah.
The Comedy Store did, not us. It was hers. It was on Westwood Boulevard, I guess. And Westwood, it was a great little smaller club, and had a younger crowd, college crowd, and all that stuff.
Argus
So
Hamilton.
she put Sam in charge of running that, and so I told Sam, hey, this guy, he's funny and he's great and he's original and he's different, and Mitzi, doesn't like him. He's come out here, I'll put him on. So Sam would put Fred up. Whenever Fred wanted to go up, he'd go to the Westwood store, and Sam would put him on. One night, Mitzi walks into the Westwood to the club, and Fred's on stage, and Sam's there. And she goes, "What's he doing right there?" And Sam said, "Killing." And she goes, "Oh, no, I want him up there." And Sam, to his benefit, said, "Hey, you put me in charge of running this place. I'm running it. You don't want me to run it? Then fire me right now."
Oh, wow.
"Well, I don't like him." He says, "So go back to Sunset."
Yeah.
Sam could get by with that. Not many other people could.
Yeah. And it's weird that she never
So
liked
Fred. So then back this, I don't remember when that was. So then back in 1990, I did this movie called Shakes the Clown with Bobcat Goldthwait and a bunch of other, Tom Kenny and a bunch of other guys. Robin was in it, and me and Adam, we played friends. And Adam, he found out while we were doing that movie that he got Saturday Night Live, and Fred was a writer on Saturday Night Live by that time.
Yeah.
So I called Fred up, and I said, "Hey, this is he's a good kid. He's a good kid. He's talented. Don't let him get screwed over. Take care of him." And Fred said, "Let me speak to him." So I, kind of like what we just did, I introduced him over the phone, and they talked. And then now Fred's written, like, I guess 4 or 5 shows that Happy Madison has produced, and Adam has put me in like 11 movies. So
Yeah.
it's pretty cool because most all of the guys have a Saturday Night Live connection. I'm the only kind of outsider who I was never involved with Saturday Night Live, other than just knowing a bunch of people who were in the cast and on the and writers, and like Hugh Fink and Fred. And
did you ever want to audition for it, or?
I never got a chance to audition for it. They immediately decided that I was too old. Because I didn't even move to Los Angeles until I was 34.
Yeah.
I was married, had a kid, been through a war, and all of that. So I was kind of like all these guys' big brother.
Yeah,
I can remember things that I don't want to besmirch anyone's reputation, but there would be times when I would tell certain people, "You know what? I wouldn't do that. She doesn't look right." And then later on, this particular person said, "God damn, you were right. It was a guy." I tried to tell you. The person who if listens to the podcast will know who I'm talking about.
That's funny.
So I was kind of like everybody's big brother, and so when it came time when Dennis Miller and all those guys were auditioning for it, they wouldn't even look at me.
That's
so
nice.
Okay, but whatever.
I
tried to tell them I can do characters, I can do accents, and I can do all kind of yeah. Well, and then they go hire Billy Crystal, who was maybe a year younger than me, or 2 years younger than me.
Yeah.
Not that much younger, but anyway.
But he looked young.
But he's Billy Crystal, and I wasn't.
Yeah.
The only thing we have in common are our initials. BC.
That's a good joke.
I like that.
Yeah, I did it with Bill Clinton. I said, that he's from Arkansas.
Sure.
We got a lot in common. He's the only president that I have anything in common with. We're both from the South. He's from Arkansas. I'm from Georgia. We're about the same age. We have the same initials, BC. But unlike him, I did go to Vietnam. And,
you cut off there. Blake?
Oh, I said, but unlike him, I did go to Vietnam, and I inhaled. They had done this question. This was years ago when they asked me, "Did you ever smoke marijuana?" And I went, "Yeah, but I never inhaled."
Yeah.
Oh, bull crap! Just own up to it, you know. Say, "Yeah, I did it."
There you go.
Yeah.
Doing it now. Did it right before this interview.
There you go.
I agree. Hey, Blake, I had a quick question for you. Have you?
Okay.
How many times have you been mistaken for John Goodman?
How many times? What?
Have you been mistaken for John Goodman?
How many times have I been mistaken for John Goodman?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
I feel like that must happen a lot.
None.
Yeah, I don't.
None to my knowledge.
Oh.
None to my knowledge.
Wow.
When I first moved out here, people said I looked like Shecky Green.
Oh.
Yeah, I was
A
gonna
few
say
people
more,
said-
Yeah.
A few people said I looked enough like Robin to be his brother.
Oh, I can
And
see
then
that.
when somebody said that, you guys look alike. Robin looked at me, and Argus Hamilton was standing there, and Argus bent over double laughing. And
I love Argus.
You should see the look on Robin's face. Because, when they said, "You guys look alike," Robin looked at me and had this, like, holy crap look on his face. That's what I'm going to look like in 8 years.
But no, I love Argus.
Yeah, Argus is great.
Oh, he's a great.
He's
awesome.
He's wonderful.
We're Facebook friends.
Your Facebook friends?
That's a big deal.
Me and Argus, yeah.
You and me are Facebook friends.
Yes, we are.
Yeah, we rock.
There you go.
I want to be Facebook friends.
Yeah,
with Blake.
we'll friend you
Yeah.
as soon as we get home.
But you don't have a Twitter. Are you?
I have an account, but I hardly ever go on it, and I don't know. I guess I don't know how to really get a following started. I guess if I could get a following, I would start tweeting and twittering and twatting and twitting, whatever the hell it is you do.
Well, I'll
And
tell.
I don't do Instagram or anything like that. And lately, I hadn't even done Facebook. I just made some remarks on other people's stuff.
Yeah.
But I said, "What are you thinking?" And I went, "Nobody gives a crap what I'm thinking."
Except for Keith
They didn't
Reza.
when I was young. Why would they care now?
Oh, but I care.
But I'm trying to figure out a way to target an audience of people who are not old,
right.
but older and sort of more, interested in what's going on with the world and, with the climate and with the all kinds of stuff. I'm not a scientist by any stretch of the imagination, but that's the kind of stuff that interests me. And so I don't even really watch that much network TV. I mostly watch Science Channel and Discovery and that stuff. Even though there's very little science on the Science Channel, there's very little Discovery on Discovery Channel. It's mostly a hillbilly hand fisher or whatever. I don't
They're
know.
looking for Bigfoot.
It's gotten ridiculous.
There you go.
Yeah, those shows, they tend to have, I noticed because, when I was a kid, they did have Discovery and Science, and now that's kind of now it's kind of like reality TV-ish.
I know.
Mythbusters changed everything.
Yeah.
Bigfoot and extraterrestrials.
This might be a bold statement, but I think Steve Irwin might have been the very last Discovery show on that show. You know what I mean?
I think he was Animal
Yeah.
Planet, though.
Yeah, he was on Animal Planet, but he would discover
Right.
and talk about the animals, and then now it's just like a show about saving dogs.
Pit bulls and parolee.
Right.
Yeah.
There you go.
So,
It's just that's the way it's gone. It's not the lowest common denominator; it's the lowest possible denominator.
now,
It's disheartening.
now, Blake, when I was growing up, I used to watch Boy Meets World, and you were on Boy Meets World.
Oh, I loved it.
And then Grant just told me, because I guess he watches Girl Meets World now.
Yeah, I saw you on
He
Girl
said
Meets World.
But in Boy Meets World, I thought you died.
Yeah, I did. It's funny. I died, and I came back as a ghost on Boy Meets World about 3 or 4 times, and then I came back as a ghost on Girl Meets World, and I had a cast on because I had torn my Achilles tendon, and so a bunch of the guys were were there. Rusty Russ was the director, and a bunch of some cast members from the original Boy Meets Ross. So look, I had a cast from my knee to my toe, and I said, if you think the afterlife is any better, I'm in a cat. I'm a ghost, and I'm in a cat. So they had to film me from the knees up.
Oh, wow. Yeah. But you could have told me that you saw him as a ghost.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't want to ruin the surprise.
Very good.
And especially if you haven't been watching, Topanga hasn't aged.
That's true. She doesn't age. You ever know?
I know. She's got to be. I guess those kids are in their 40s now, aren't they?
Yeah. But man, that is true about that actress. She's never aged, even on the show. So
I know.
But,
it's funny.
Hey, I got a question for you, Blake. Who is harder to raise, Ryder Strong or Drew Barrymore?
They were both very, very well raised by the time I got to them. Ryder was, I'll tell you, I first came on board, he was probably 12 or 13. Mm-hmm. But these kids were smart, and they were very, well-grounded, and they had good parents. And Michael Jacobs, he was fantastic with those kids. He would do stuff with them, he said he would give us notes, and he was giving notes, and I stood up and did Roger Debris Does History, and he laughed, and he looked and goes, he's doing, the producers, and to the cast, they were in their early teens then. He goes, you guys have who's seen producers? And I think Will Friedle raised his hand, and the rest of them, he goes, okay, Thursday we're watching the producers, and so they watched Mel Brooks, the producers, and that was before, of course, he did the Broadway play and all of that stuff.
Right.
It sort of was. It was kind of esoteric, but then it became a huge breakout hit when he did the Broadway play. But that's the kind of stuff he would do, and he'd give great notes, not just about acting, but life lessons and all. So all those kids were really, really, really good, nice, smart, well-grounded. He'd come out when we had a studio audience, they'd all go, start screaming at Ryder because he was one of the heartthrobs, and he just thought it was silly.
Yeah.
He didn't take it, act like he was a big deal. And Will Friedle was very, very smart. Ben Savage was great. And all of those kids were very smart. And as far as Drew goes, she couldn't have been sweeter to me,
Yeah.
And I was very fortunate to be able to work with her and to get that part.
Yeah. You also worked with Dan Aykroyd. How was he in real life?
Oh yeah, he's a legend.
Yeah.
He's just real easygoing, and again, very humble. I have been so lucky in this business. Like I said, there's only a couple of people that I've ever worked with, or for, that I would just say, nah, I ain't gonna do it again unless you pay me, much, much higher than my pay grade.
Right.
So, yeah.
Oh yeah.
So I've been very fortunate that, and all of those guys have a history of Saturday Night Live and stuff. But the first time I worked with him, it was great. I mean, I watched Saturday Night Live before I was still a coach back in Macon, and didn't get to meet him, just like to get to meet the Robin and people like that, and De Niro and all that. It's great. Sometimes I have to pinch myself to make sure that this ain't I got hit and I'm in a concussion and this is my dream. Because when you get knocked out, you have the most vivid dreams, or at least I did.
Yeah. So, I've never been knocked out, so I can't really relate to that.
Stars once.
I say, yeah, it's like the most vivid dreams I can and then you wake up and you don't have any idea where you are, what's going on, or who other. I mean, literally for a few minutes. Yeah, one guy comes up to me and he goes, "Hey, you're okay, you're okay." I went, "Who the F are you?" I'd known the guy for like 3 years, in college. No shit, my wife just said, "You do that to me every morning when you wake up." Yeah, I'm sure she could tell you stories about living with a combat veteran.
Yeah.
It's funny, yesterday, my youngest son, Nicholas, had come up. My wife was in Texas visiting old relatives who are actually older than me. And so I was alone. So he came up to stay with me for a couple of days. And I said, wait, because he had to go back to work on Monday. I said, well, wake me up before you leave, because I stay up late and get up, pretty late in the morning.
Yeah.
So he knew to come in there and gently grab my ankle and say, "Dad." And I opened my eyes, yeah, because I always said, if you call me Dad, don't just come in there and say, "Get up, wake up," because I'll wake up not know where I am or if I'm at war or what.
Right.
So just stand off away from me, grab my ankle, and just hold on to my ankle. That's the way they used to wake me up in Vietnam.
Wow.
If one of my men, if something was going on, they'd come and grab my ankle, and I'd come away and go, "What?"
Yeah.
I wouldn't go, "What?" I'd just go, "What?"
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Well,
even though that was 48 years ago, I still, when I wake up, I don't. Do you guys do the road?
I do, yeah. And actually,
You know how sometimes you wake up and the darker the room is, the longer it takes you to figure out where you are?
Yeah. Well, I mean,
yeah.
I wasn't in a war, so I can't experience it to your degree, but I was in a car accident about 5 years ago, and I fell asleep when I was driving. And
oh, my God.
Yeah, so, sometimes in the middle of the night when I hear, cars crash and stuff, I'll wake up.
Yeah.
It's
that's the same thing, PTSD.
Yeah, but I mean, it's
post-traumatic stress disorder. A lot of, it was before in World War I think they called it shell shock. In World War II is battle fatigue. And then Vietnam, it became PTSD. Well, actually after they started calling it post-traumatic stress disorder, and then they realized that not just combatants have it, but like people in an automobile accident or anything that's traumatic. You don't ever really get over it.
Yeah. So, I mean, I know the feeling. Like I said, it wasn't like a war or something, so I'm sure it's way worse. But there's days where I can't even sleep because it's especially when I drive.
I'm reluctant to go to sleep. That's why I stay up so late. And then once I'm asleep, I don't like to get up.
Yeah.
So.
Well, if you can't sleep, feel free to text me, man. I'll play Words with Friends with you. I'm usually up.
Okay.
All right.
Sure.
Sounds good. Blake, we got a couple Twitter questions for you, and
okay.
Yeah, we only have about 7 minutes, so let's.
All right.
This is from Troy Loves Mike. Blake, which is your favorite Adam Sandler film that you've done?
Well, the one we had the most fun on, of course, was Waterboy.
Yeah.
And but I kind of like the character I got to do as Drew's dad in 50 First Dates, and I got to spend 7 weeks in Hawaii, and they flew my wife over for a week, and they treat us really, really good.
Yeah.
And so Waterboy was the most fun, and 50 First Date was the most rewarding as far as being actually acting.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think that one showed, because in all the movies you have the funny lines, but that one you had a real heartfelt story.
Yeah, yeah. I was sort of the heart to the movie, I guess.
Yeah. I thought you were the heart to Little Nicky. You cracked me up.
Yeah, as Jimmy the Demon.
Yeah.
My parents used to not let me watch that movie. The first time they saw me watching it, I was in like 5th grade. My dad made me turn it off.
Adam
Yeah.
Adam Sandler was doing this movie called The Longest Yard, and I was an extra in it, and they were doing a contest about who could sound like Sandler in one of his previous movies. You get to sit by Joey Diaz So anyways, I auditioned during the contest and I won, and I did Little Nicky, like the impression and stuff. And I was like, if you think about Little Nicky's
cool.
the easiest one to do. He's like, "Hey, Dad, I've always dreamt of having sweet." When I was younger, it was a lot better
Good.
when I was younger. But
You sound like him.
and then second Twitter question from Troy doesn't love Mike. It's kind of funny because the first question was Mike loves Troy.
Is that real or not?
I don't know.
You making that up?
No, these Twitter questions, man, they're just so...
Troy loves Mike, and then the other one is Troy doesn't love Mike.
Yeah, I think they're following each other.
Okay. You mean they broke up between the first
That was
question and the second one?
It was a fast relationship.
Yeah, that was a fast 120-character relationship.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, they didn't even make it to the full 140 that you're allowed.
Oh, boy.
Blake, do you have any cool Rodney Dangerfield stories?
Oh, Rodney Dangerfield.
Rodney Dangerfield. Not really. I did Ladybugs with him. The only interesting thing that happened was we were out in it was filmed outside of Denver, and a tornado came and destroyed the set.
There's tornadoes in Colorado?
Yeah.
Wow.
I had no idea.
Yeah, I mean it wasn't a real big tornado,
Yeah.
and it kind of just came, destroyed the set, and then dissipated. So it was like, maybe God didn't like that particular arrangement of the set, so and then it just kind of went away and disappeared.
I remember Ladybugs. That was a great movie. It was where the guy, Jonathan Brandis, he dressed up as a girl to be on the soccer team.
He died, didn't he?
Yeah.
The kid, the male lead kid, I think he died.
Yeah, he committed suicide, actually.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, they said that was because he didn't get the role of Anakin Skywalker in the Star Wars film. So
no,
really?
Yeah, seriously.
Really?
Yeah, so that just like leads me to think how depressing acting could be if you don't get any roles.
Yeah, it's kind of if you take it that seriously, I guess anything can be.
Boy, that's real serious.
That depressing.
That's too bad.
I was, like I said, I was very fortunate in that when I came here, I already had a wife and a kid. I'd had a life. I'd worked. I'd had jobs. I was a coach. I was in combat. I was a leader in combat. So everything kind of, this is what I do. It ain't my life.
Sure.
And then we only have
so
time.
maybe that's why I never got further along than I am, because when given the choice, I'd go here and do this, or I just said no. I don't want to do. I don't want to have to leave my family for that long. I mean, I was offered one of in the beginnings of the Comedy Channel. Mm-hmm. They wanted me to go to New York and do a sort of I don't know. I'd have guests, but there was no audience. Kind of like what Brian Regan did, and I had to relocate to New York, and I just said no thanks. No. And I chose my family over that, and I'm glad I did. So.
Well, Blake's a real guy.
I've been very fortunate.
He had a real life, and
the whole thing with the career and the wife and the kids, it's all gravy. Right. I should have been killed innumerable times in combat.
Wow.
I had mortar rounds hit right next to me that didn't go off, and a hand grenade hit me in the chest that I actually picked up and threw out, and it exploded.
Jeez.
So I'm very fortunate to even be here.
Well, thank you, Blake.
I don't take it that seriously.
Blake, I want to just thank you for your service.
Yeah.
Hey, wasn't my idea. I got that.
Thank you anyway, I tell you.
Well, Blake, the director just gave us the light, so we have to unfortunately wrap up.
This was great.
Thank you so much
right.
for talking to me, pal. I
Hey,
really
thank you,
appreciate
guys.
it. All right.
Thank you, Blake.
Thank you.
And I'm serious.
All right.
If you ever can't sleep, text me.
All right.
All right.
I'll do it.
All right, Blake. Have a good
All right.
day, buddy.
Take care. Thanks, Blake.
Thanks, you too. Bye.
Bye.
That's Blake. Wow. That's
Blake Clark. That
And,
was awesome.
That was incredible because
And-
he's led such a life. He's a veteran and
Yeah.
nice guy, huh?
He's awesome. But he answered the question that was actually the last question.
Which was?
If he got drafted or if he signed up. And so that was pretty cool.
Oh,
You know?
there you go.
That was
Boom.
awesome. So, once again, Blake Clark, you guys can follow him on Facebook. He has a Twitter. He doesn't go on it, but it's Blake Clark Comedy. You could like his fan page and see. He's always in the Laugh Factory in Vegas. He's always there. He's there at least
That's one of the
once every
places
3
he
months. That's where I
performs.
saw him, yeah.
There you go.
A hilarious comedian. And Grant Smith had to go to get the guest for the next show, but you and I, we have to do the sponsors because we forgot to do it in the middle.
I think we should do that.
It was hard to do. It's hard to do the sponsors in the middle on a phone call interview.
Yeah,
because-
it's a little hard to interrupt, but I think we'll do it at the end, man.
Yeah.
You know, we
So we'll do it again twice. How about that?
Whenever you want to do it.
All right, we'll do it twice. All right.
Here we go.
So this is for the middle one.
Okay.
All right.
And today's episode of Razor Riffs is brought to you by Salon Soma in the city of Long Beach. Their mission is beautiful hair. They offer hair care, skin care, body care, makeup, and lashes. Their number is 562-987-4799. Salon Soma, Long Beach. It's Greek and cool.
Today's episode is also sponsored by Irvine Law Office. They handle employment law, estate planning, DUI, and criminal cases. If you break the law and want a lawyer you can trust, call Irvine Law Office at 949-877-1957. You can also call them if you didn't break the law.
Today's episode is also sponsored by Vantage Utility Services. They are an IBEW-affiliated contractor that provides engineering and construction services to power, wireless, and telecommunication markets. They stand for the two most important things to customers, safety and quality. Visit VantageUtilityService.com.
All right, guys. That's Razor Riffs with Blake Clark.
Blake Clark, wow.
That was an awesome
That was
episode.
awesome. I mean, that was historical.
Yeah, that was great.
And he knew Argus. And there was quite some stories he said about the Comedy Store and the Westwood Comedy Store with Sam Kinison.
Yeah, and Fred Wolf.
And Fred Wolf, who we had a
Fred
great
Wolf.
time with Fred.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thanks for listening.
Yes,
please
indeed.
follow Blake Clark at Comedy on Facebook. Also, if you like the show, please subscribe on iTunes and rate and review it. You can follow us on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook at Reza, R-E-Z-A, space Riffs,
So
R-I-F-T-S.
Give us some likes and enjoy the show.
Yeah, we need the love, guys. Thank you so much, and we'll see you guys next time.
All right.
You're listening to Reza Riffs with Keith Reza and Alan Lee, right here on LA Talk Radio.